wouldn't you ever set eyes on?
No.
That rabbit's got a vicious streak a mile wide. It's a killer. Look at the bones.
Cute, vicious, conservative, and opinionated. Don't tell her she's wrong unless you're ready to do battle.
Now, if any of you sons of bitches got anything else to say, now's the fucking time!
I saw my armor. I was so scared.
It's time for the Political Bunny on the Attack with your host, Sam Janney, on Altcon Radio.
Welcome to Political Bunny on the Attack. I am your host, The Bunny, and tonight we're talking about white woman privilege. Yeah, it's funny even saying that out loud, you guys. White woman privilege. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about sexism against men as well. I'm finding in talking about white woman privilege that sexism against men goes hand in hand. And so we'll talk a little bit about both of those tonight. Trust me, it's going to be interesting. You know, it's funny because feminists can't quite get around just vilifying men now. You know, it's getting old hat. Oh, you're going to blame men for everything wrong with what you think is wrong with this country, or why you think your life is so horrible. It's getting old. People are getting bored of hearing it's all the guy's fault. So they have to come up with something else to be outraged about, something else to be pissed off about. And so what they've done is they've married racism and sexism into white woman privilege. Yeah, I just giggle every time I see this. So what we're doing is not only vilifying men, we're vilifying women based on skin color. Right. But before we dive into all of that goodness, that white woman privilege, I feel like I should say that as if it's written in caps, white woman privilege. Before we get into that, we're going to bring you this PSA for the NSA, like old time's sake.
The following is a public service announcement from Political Bunny on the Attack. Hey there and howdy, NSA. It's good to have you with us tonight. We realize you're staffed by government employees and may need us to speak more slowly or use smaller words, and hey, we get it. You have a job to do, and since we are a caring sort here at Political Bunny, we've prepared a little cheat sheet to make your job easier. 1. Political Bunny is spelled capital P-O-L-I-T-I-B-U-N-N-Y. 2. Bunny is a conservative. You know, one of those big bad meanies you're supposed to, quote, protect us from. 3. If you're unsure of something Bunny says or believes, just refer to number 2. 4. Don't take any wooden nickels. 5. Always wash your hands after using the bathroom. There you go, NSA. As we said before, we're super stoked that you're with us tonight, so pull up a chair and pay attention. You might just learn something.
Yeah, you know, we've been playing this little intro for our liberal listeners, and we realize there are some of you out there, and God bless you for staying with us. And we've been playing this funny little thing, basically it's like what you'd hear on NPR, but there was all this news about the NSA, and things aren't going to get any better with that. So we thought, you know what, we're going to go ahead and go back to our roots a little bit and play that PSA for our good friends at the NSA. Everybody give your middle finger to the NSA at once. 1, 2, 3. All right, we'll move on. So, white privilege. Now, it's not just white woman privilege. I was ranting about white privilege earlier, and a good friend, Donna, said it had been something that had been tossed around even in the 60s and 70s. And Donna, being smarter than I am, and she is, I hope she's listening, Donna, you're brilliant, she pointed out that it's just another facet of communism and Marxism. You know, the whole collective, the idea of you know, the group think. And so she talked about white privilege and how it was a term in the 60s. Thanks, Donna, for that tidbit. Me being me, however, I rarely come into contact with the term these days. I have to be honest with you. I kind of tend to be over in the Benghazi realm or talking about entitlement stuff. You know, I don't tend to kind of float into any kind of racism discussion in social media because I always get pissed off when I get into that, being somebody who totally believes in the idea of character versus skin color or sex or any of that nonsense, so I don't really come into contact with it very often. But this week, I came across a hashtag and it said white woman privilege. And I decided to take a little peeky into the tag, and boy, am I really sorry that I did. You know, I never see as much martyrdom and victimization and poor me bullshit as I see in feminist hashtags on Twitter. It drives me insane. You know, everything is about how life is unfair, the government should do more. This idea that women are victims of society. It's always prevalent in any kind of feminist hashtag. The white woman privilege one was especially ugly because what it was a bunch of white women talking about how ashamed they were of their skin because how much harder it is for minority women out there. So not only as a white woman am I oppressed by evil men, but I'm privileged. Yeah, that kind of, I wasn't sure how that worked. So I jumped into it and I asked a couple of these women, and again, this probably wasn't my mistake. I asked them, I said, so how does this work? How can I be oppressed by men, yet privileged as a white woman? And each and every one of these women said to me, well, clearly, if you don't know what it means, then you have white privilege. Okay, but what does that mean? Well, if you have to ask that question, you must have it. Must have white privilege coming out of my ass, guys, because I had no idea what they were talking about. You know, this idea, it's like we are always looking, well, not we, because it's not me, but, you know, it's like the left is always looking for new levels of victimization, new ways to manipulate the ideas of agenda to feed this idea that we have to do for certain groups of people because they're not able to do for themselves. You know, I've basically come to the conclusion that according to liberal ideologies, since I believe in making opinions based on character versus skin color, that I believe everybody has the ability to make do for themselves, that I believe in the individual. That makes me a racist, apparently. That really is an interesting thought if you think about it. Believing in people, regardless of who they are, where they come from, that really should be what America is about. That is really the basis of living in a country where you can be whatever you want to be if you're willing to work hard enough for it. And unfortunately, we're losing that because so many people on the left are willing to give into the idea that society isn't fair. Your lives suck because society isn't fair. It's not that you don't work hard enough. It's not that maybe you make mistakes and don't own up to them and try and fix them. It's not that you don't go out and try to better yourself. No, 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 no. It's not your fault. And in society, they look for the boogeyman. Either it's white privilege, white woman privilege, men. Somebody sent me a link today about, what was it, Asian privilege. And I laughed my ass off. Are we really this out of touch with what it means to be an American? Of ideas are getting the attention they really don't deserve. And, you know, if you talk about any issues in this country right now, especially if you're talking with government and this administration, they look to put racism and racial problems into each and everything that's wrong. Well, unemployment's high. Well, it's because black people can't get jobs because white people are mean to them. I mean, the reality is our economy is shit. And we are looking for solutions in government versus solutions in free market. Until government gets out of it, we're not going to get any better. And so instead of owning that they really just screw things up more, they create crisis. They create white woman privilege. They create bunny privilege. I mean, anything not to accept that what they're doing is wrong and that their ideals and their policies are really screwing us up. You know, it's hard to accept that the things you believe in, the things that you think are dynamite, are fucking up your country, and getting called on that. You know, a real man or a real woman, woman's white privilege, a real human being would stand up and say, you know what, it was an idea. The idea is screwed up. The country means more to me than my ego. Let's fix this. But no, that's not what's happening. And it's not just the administration. You know, you look at Congress. God, that's a disaster. Talk about white woman privilege. I'm just kidding. Was it Congress privilege? You know, I'm going to start looking for any kind of privilege that I can find out there. And that really pisses me off, you guys, because living in America, it is a privilege. We are very blessed to be in this country. And now we're hearing that being exceptional is bad. How dare you be exceptional? If you're exceptional, you're a racist. White woman privilege. White privilege. But do you ever hear, and okay, I'm sorry if someone gets offended, but do you ever hear anybody say black privilege? Hispanic privilege? Can you imagine the shitstorm if someone talked like that? It's okay to pick on the white people and the white women. It's their fault that your lives are bad because our skin color is different. Can you imagine how much outrage there would be out there if someone started talking about black privilege? And you know what's unfortunate is we're seeing a lot of that in this government. You know, Eric Holder, who didn't make the douchebag list, we'll get to him later, telling schools not to punish certain kids because of their race. That, to me, is racist. He's implying minority children cannot behave like white children. So don't be mean to them. They're not quite as capable as the white kids at being good. Really? But you know, if I say that out loud, as a privileged white woman, I'm the racist. I'm the bad guy. So these have all been thoughts in my head as I was reading through this white woman privilege hashtag. And you know what? It's not just a hashtag. There's actually a whole movement out there, you guys, a whole area of study. You know, these liberal arts bullshit programs that talk about, was it poetry and anger and all this good stuff. There's a woman, I'm going to read to you, and I'm sorry if this makes you throw up a little bit. Please get your barf bags because it is kind of disgusting. This woman, I'm trying to find, her name is Peggy McIntosh, and she wrote an article about white privilege, and it's called Unpacking the Invisible Knapsack. And what Peggy talks about, she has a whole list of daily effects of white privilege. Now, it's not just white women privilege, so the men listening, this applies to you as well. I will not read to you all, gosh, there are 50 of these things that are daily effects of white privilege. But I'm going to read to you a few of them so you can laugh with me, because this is such an idea of segregation based on skin that she doesn't see the own irony of her racism here. So there's a whole list of things that affect her daily because of white privilege. Number one, I can, if I wish, arrange to be in the company of people of my race most of the time. Oh, I see. Okay, so people of other races don't have the ability to be around people of their own, of their same skin color. Right. Okay, number two, I can avoid spending time with people whom I was trained to mistrust and who have learned to mistrust my kind or me. Wow, what do you think that means? People have told minorities that white people are bad, so they don't want to be around white people. Yeah. Three, if I should need to be sure of renting or purchasing housing in an area which I can afford and which I would want to live. Now, I don't know, of course, this was written a while ago. Peggy may not have understood that our economy would go to total shit. But there are a lot of people of all skin colors out there who are having a hard time finding a place to live. You know, homeless people are not just one shade. We have a real problem in this country. It is not about your skin color. It is about a bad economy. I can be pretty sure that my neighbors in such a location will be neutral or pleasant to me. Okay. Actually, you know what? My neighbor to the south, he and I are the same color. And boy, he's a son of a bitch. I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think it's people are assholes based on character, not color of skin. It goes on. There's more of these guys. Let me find some other ones that are Oh, here's one. This is one of my favorites. Whether I use checks, credit cards, or cash, I can count on my skin color not to work against the appearance of financial reliability. What does that mean? What, so if someone, a white person writes a check or a black person writes a check, someone's going to make an assumption based on that? I don't know about you, but I'm not pissed about who's writing the check. I'm pissed at writing a check because I'm in line waiting behind them. I don't care. I mean, these ideas are bizarre. And I think this notion of being an apologist for your skin divides us. Being an apologist because you're a woman divides us. Expecting men to apologize for being men divides us. And you know, the whole point of all of this big hope and change crap was, hey, I'm the great uniter. We're all going to come together and make this country better. I don't know about you guys, but all I have noticed is the country is more divided and pissed off and unpleasant than it has ever been. I mean, you hear people talking about civil war. In fact, one person I spoke to about the white woman privilege tag, as I was kidding, their idea was someone's trying to instigate a civil war. This, to me, is unacceptable, you guys. And it leads to these ideas that are truly destroying not only our individualism, but our families and our communities. You know, it leads to the idea, and we're going to talk later to a guest, Danny Brown, about the idea of the diminishing male in society. And, you know, I'm sorry, but it is like if you watch any TV, if you watch any commercial, it's always look at the dumb guy on the TV making a point to sell something. Look at the TV show, the drama where the dad is a deadbeat dad and the poor mom has to do all by herself. More and more, the media and the left are making men's role in society go away. And I don't get that. I don't understand what good that does any of us. You know, I have a husband and I have a son. I have a daughter too. But I have the boys in my life, the men in my life are men and they're different and they have a place and they should have a place. This whole idea of the oppressed woman and the diminished man is not helping anybody get any better. It is not making life better for any of us. It divides us. It makes us victims. Who's in to save the victims, you guys? Who's there to catch us when we fall? Who's that safety net? That's the government. But you know, this is kind of what they're looking for. And yeah, you know, go ahead, Sam, put on your tinfoil hat. This is what they're looking for. This is what they want. They want to come in and save us. They want to create crisis and bullshit and horrible things because then we need them. Oh, there are no jobs? Awesome. We'll come in and pay your bills and feed your family. And you evil conservatives who come to us and say, this is not your place. You hate the poor. You hate women. You're evil men. I can't tell you how many times I've had a conversation with someone on the left who tells me that there's no way that I could possibly be a conservative and be a woman, because I'm clearly voting against my own best interests. Woman, maybe that doesn't count. Maybe I don't understand what my own best interests are in regard to best interests because I have white privilege. That freaking kills me, you guys. That kills me. Okay, you're oppressed, but only a little oppressed because you're a white woman. What horse shit. I'm sorry. You know, I understand people get passionate, they have ideas, and they're looking for solutions, but a solution is not telling somebody you're oppressed because of men. You're not quite so oppressed because you're white. It's stupid. How about let's work on getting back to basics and do what we can to make everybody's life better. You know, the moment we start talking about action versus idea, things happen. Things get better. I'd like to think that anyway. You know, I'm trying to be the eternal optimist anymore, but you know, the more bullshit I see, and this is some bullshit, you guys, the more I see, getting propagated, and the amount of it, the amount of feeding it, and, you know, the amount of hate that I got in return for saying, I don't feel repressed. I don't feel oppressed. I don't blame men for my problems. You wouldn't believe the things that were said to me because I refused to accept that feminism made my life better. That was another fun discussion. There was a really good discussion on why women don't need feminism. And wow, these feminists got angry with us who said, no, we don't think we need it. And they tried to convince me that without it, I'd be stuck in the kitchen. I'm like, well, you say that like that's a bad thing. Being a stay-at-home mom is not a punishment, it's a choice, and we should celebrate the choices we can make in our lives. Oh, that was not well received. And of course, bringing up Susan B. Anthony, being a Republican, well, that really pissed them off too. So, you know, the more I see of that, and I see it seems to bubble up more and more as we get closer, and again, with these midterm elections, we're going to see batshit crazy, and it's going to get nuts. And they're feeding it. They're feeding it through women because, and you know, I always come back to this, and I'm sorry if you're getting tired of me saying this, but women are key in this election. The midterms in 2016 are all going to be about women. And whether or not devil bitch Hillary gets the nomination, women are going to be the ones who decide what happens, because women are the ones who voted for Obama. You know, women are the ones making decisions based on emotion. And feminists don't call me all pissed off because it's a reality. Oh, we want to help the poor, I'm going to vote for this guy. Without understanding you're not helping the poor by voting for the guy who grows government. We have got to start talking to women and get out, but you know, it makes it hard to get around it when they're so wrapped up in white privilege and evil feminism and men, and it's bullshit. Women, we are smarter than that. We don't need it. I don't get it. You know, and being told every time I asked how that worked, that I was too stupid to understand white privilege, and clearly I had a lot of it if I didn't understand that, doesn't give me much hope. But you know what? We got to keep going on. You know, and I'm trying to find a nice way from hope to douchebag, and I guess I could have the whole Obama tie-in. You know, his hope and change, and he's a douchebag, because I do need to get off my soapbox and get on to my top 10 douchebags of the week.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for PolitiBunny's Top 10 Douchebags of the Week.
You know, someday I'm going to have to put this on video, because every time the polka starts, I bounce around in my bed like an idiot. Yes, I do. The Bunny Show comes to you live from Bunny's bedroom because it's the quietest location in my house where I can lock the door. Winning. Okay. So our top 10 douchebags of the week. At number 10 is Medicare, for funding penis pumps in the amount of $172 million. You know, Jimmy Kimmel had a couple great spots this week where he first, of course, destroyed Obamacare. And the second was when he talked about, you know, the Medicare piece on the $172 million on penis pumps. And he said, do you think the countries we owe a lot of money to look at that and think, what the fuck? Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing, Jimmy. $172 million on penis pumps. And hey, I'm not judging you guys. If you need a penis pump, God bless you, but taxpayers paying for it? That's a lot of money. Okay, number 9 is Randy Orton. Now, this is funny because typically, you know, the whole list is politicians or politically aligned. And Randy was nominated actually overwhelmingly like 8 people because earlier this week when I was watching wrestling with my son, who loves wrestling, my son and I were watching, and I tweeted out that I really thought Randy Orton seemed like he was being a dickhead. And all of these people came back to me and said, he went AWOL from the Marines and he's on suspension for drugs and blah, 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 blah. So I told my son that he made a special list on Mommy's show, and he thought that was really cool because he doesn't understand that Randy Orton is a douchebag. Number 8 is Hillary Clinton. You know, she keeps making the list. And, you know, you might think that I'm a tad bit biased putting her on the list over and over again because I think she's the devil. But, you know, she was nominated. And she was nominated because the Senate committee determined that there were terrorists involved in Benghazi. I know, terrorism? Really? And that it could have been prevented. So she sucks. And she is number 8 on the douchebags. Number 7, this is a personal one. Because you know what I've discovered, being out there is that there are certain people in social media who think they own social media, and if you dare tell them otherwise, they go after you personally and try to hurt you. Greg Howard was nominated by several people, and if you're not on Twitter or NetVield, you probably are not familiar, and if not, you're lucky. Basically, he is a gentleman who has threatened people, harassed people, and told them if they can't follow certain individuals. And me being me, I have a real problem with the idea of someone telling you or me who they can and cannot follow or interact with in this movement. And for, to be honest with you, for months, people have been asking me to bring him up on the show. And I have tried to avoid doing so because I didn't want to become this verbal pissing match with him. I did try to stay out of it, but of course, I opened my fat mouth and told him he shouldn't be bullying people. And since then, I have been on his list, and his followers, his minions or whatever, his cultists have really been after me. And so, being the smaller person in this, I've put him on the list this week. And I hope this makes a lot of you happy who have been nominating him and who I have been ignoring. He makes it at number 7. Number 6 is Holder and the Department of Justice. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, telling schools to punish kids based on their race, because he apparently believes that minority children can't be as well behaved as white children, so they deserve a break. Pandering and treating people of color as less than based on his own stupid bullshit racism. So Holder, congratulations. I hope you're listening. You're number 6. Number 5 was the Democratic Party in general. However, I am taking the liberty with this one and calling it progressives, because there are assholes on both sides of the political coin these days, not just Democrats. There are plenty of progressive douches in the Republican Party. Hello, Carvo, I'm talking to you. Number 4 is school districts pushing Common Core. This really should have been on there a long time, and we really should do a show specifically on Common Core. But a good friend and a fellow radio personality, G.I. Jen, I know that she's had some issues with her local school district there, pushing certain things in her child's classroom she does not appreciate. And it all comes down to the idea of government thinking it knows better than we do to raise our children. So Common Core, number 4. Number 3 is John Kerry, because he's John Kerry. I think that's all we have to say about John. And number 2, and I hope I don't butcher his name, it is Toure from MSNBC. And someone nominated him, actually 3 people nominated him, for saying jobs is a lousy anti-poverty plan. So getting a job is not the way out of poverty. Apparently, in Toure's mind, it's all about the government. So he's definitely number 2 on the list this week. And number 1, and I'm sure you knew this was coming, was Barack Obama. And you know what? We're going to include his entire administration and his wife. Because you know what? Every week it's just something more. The whole thing with I have a pen and a phone and I'm going to make executive orders if Congress doesn't do what I want them to do. That is not what it's about. And I think he forgets that. So he's spoken like a true dictator that he is. He, of course, at number 1. Yeah, I really enjoy doing this list because what it does is allows me to really interact with a lot of you, and I really enjoy that part of it. It gives me a real good idea of what's pissing all of you off as well. And 9 times out of 10, we tend to agree. Randy Orton was a new one for me, even though I did complain about him. Hearing people talk about him as a douchebag on my list really corrected me. That was awesome. So I'm going to thank you again like I do every week. Thank you for your nominations. We will probably do a top 10 good guy list here soon, so we're not always negative because, Bunny tends to be a little negative. We'll do a top 10 good guy list here in the weeks to come. So that being said, I think we're going to take a small break here, and Bunny's going to get some water. And when we get back, I have 2 very special guests coming on the show who call themselves the Liberal Bitches. We'll be right back. Stay put.
Hey guys, it's Jason from According to Me, asking you to join me every Thursday night here on AltCon Radio. You get to spend 90 minutes with a conservative, smart aleck, common sense, average American with 4 kids. Every week I hope to entertain, educate, and offend as many on the left as possible. Barack Obama and John Boehner would hate my show, which is why you should love it. Become a member of the According to Me militia every Thursday from 9 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on AltCon Radio.
Do you want to talk to us? Dial 646-716-7039 now and talk to us live on AltCon Radio.
You can talk to me. Talk to me. When you're down now, you can talk to me. You can talk to me.
Oh, that was fun. Yes, we do have new ads. I'm looking into the chat room. Hello, Conservative Revolution. Yes, I had some glass of water, and I'm happy to let folks know that you'll be doing a Common Core show specific to Common Core on Sunday night, and you are on at 9 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to listen more, and I know it's Ken and Jen is the one who's had so much trouble, give them a listen on Sunday night. So I'm hoping that we have Julia and Stacy on the line. Are you ladies with me? Uh-oh, just like a liberal woman not to show up when she's supposed to be here. You know, I'm wondering if my liberal bitches got cold feet. It's distinctly possible because I know that it's not always easy to call into a conservative show to talk about feminism when you are perhaps of a different mind of what type of feminism that you are looking for. So hopefully we will keep this on and hear from Julia and Stacy here soon. So going back to the idea of white woman privilege, you know, I'm wondering how many of you have come into contact with this idea, this notion that for whatever reason, that women are not equal based on character, but on not only now our parts, but our skin color. And it seems to me that a lot of the time, I come in contact with this at work and in my community. And, I'm sorry. I'm getting back on my soapbox, and I'm hearing from my producer that I think Julia is on the line, but we've lost Stacy. Julia, are you with us?
I'm here, Sam.
Hello, Julia. How are you there, Julia? Are we keeping you in okay?
Yes, I'm always in, Sam.
Oh, that's great. So, you know, I appreciate you calling in tonight. I know that it probably is unknown territory to call a conservative show as a liberal and a feminist. So, you know, so it's Julia. What is your last name, Julia, and who are you with?
My last name is Julia No Child. No Childs won't have my uterus corrupted by anything that involves PIV.
PIV. Oh, so Julia No Child, and you're worried about PIV. Okay, and for those of you who may have missed that, PIV is penis and vagina. Is that correct, Julia?
Yes, and I represent transvestites. Women are terrific.
Transvestites, women are terrific, or twat. Okay, great. So Julia.
We have a slogan.
Oh, you do? Well,
no one fucks with us.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry. Or is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? If that's a good thing, then that's great. Is it terrific?
Hello?
Hello?
As an empowered woman, I'm really concerned that no one's even bothered to address the fact that I'm on the show.
Oh, Stacy, is that you?
Yes, it is, and I've been sitting here for God knows how long.
I am so sorry. You know, that whole white privilege thing, I just kind of forgot myself for a minute. Stacy,
hold on, it's typical conservative bullshit that puts me on hold and has me sit here when I have very important things to do. But I agreed to be on your show in the first place, and the fact that I'm being treated this way is we're already off to a bad start, but it's okay.
Oh, you know, and Stacy, from the bottom of my heart, I apologize. You know, would you mind telling our listeners what your full name is?
Well, I am Stacy Dasani Evian Voss, and I am a chairperson for the Civil Union National Trustees. We're a nonprofit and we do really, really good things. And I'm glad, regardless of your listening audience, I'm glad I'm on the show to tell you all about it.
No, what is your organization again? Can you tell me that one more time?
Well, they want to call me the chairman, but not going to have that as my title. So I'm a chairperson.
You're
and
a chairperson.
I'm a chairperson
I'm sorry.
For the Civil Union National Trustees.
Civil Union, so C-U-N-T. Gotcha.
Yes.
So we have C-U-N-T and T-W-A-T on the line.
Yes,
Great.
and I believe you. Yes.
Great.
I don't see
now,
the problem.
No, there's not a problem. Absolutely
Okay.
not. We're just so tickled that you're with us tonight, and you know it's a hard topic for a lot of us to talk about, and especially as women. I'm hoping that you might have something to share on this whole idea of white woman privilege. I don't want to assume that you are of any skin tone. I'm just curious what your take is on that.
Well, here's my thoughts. I want to share with you, because I have 3 last names. But they're important for a particular reason, okay?
Okay.
Dasani, I was born Stacy Dasani. That is my maiden name. It is a
Stacey.
name that will always be with me. It is who I am.
Okay.
But I also married a man whose last name was Evian. And like any good self-empowered woman should do, I decided to not only keep my maiden name because it is who I am, but to also, out of respect for quote-unquote, tradition, I took his as well.
Right.
So I, at one point, was Stacy Dasani Evian. Then I met my partner, the love of my life, and I realized that being with a man and being put in this role of absolute servitude was not something I wanted to have be the rest of my life. So I moved on, and I have met my partner, whose last name is Voss. So because I don't want to forget the time that I was with a man, because not only did we have some good times, but it also reminds me to never go back to the state of servitude that a traditional marriage would be. I have decided to just keep them all. So I am Stacy Dasani Evian Voss.
Wow. Say that fast 3 times. I'm not mocking you.
Well, yes, but here's the thing. The reason why I'm keeping those names is because I insist on fighting the stereotype and the supposed role that women are supposed to play in traditional American life. I think it's wrong. I think it's ridiculous. And that's why I am the chairperson of the Civil Union National Trustees, to make sure that women of all types, not only heterosexual women, but specifically the LGBT community, and all of those folks that are lesbian or bisexual, whatever the case may be, that they have a home, they have a voice, and they need to make sure that they listen to other viewpoints besides the stuff that's spewed here on Alt-Con Radio. That's my opinion.
Oh, okay. So have you been listening to the show, Stacy? Oh, wait, Julia. Are you there, Julia?
Been left out, and I saw some people in the chat room apparently thought I dropped. I, for one, have never had sex. I consider it rape.
Oh, no. Oh, no. So when you talk about PIV, you really believe that the idea is rape. Okay. So you're married.
And Julia, for the record, I know we've never spoke before, but I completely agree with you, and that is why me and my partner scissor, for that reason.
Oh, God. Wow, that's great. And I'm glad that you're empowered and that you find ways to connect with your partner. Julia, now you're not married?
Well, not to a human.
Not to a human.
I'm a big Alex Jones fan.
Okay.
It's a spiritual thing, but I can't be raped by a spiritual thing.
No, you can't. That's a good point. So you're of the mind that any kind of sex with a man is rape.
You can't thrust something into my body over and over and over again, and it not be molestation.
Oh, okay. So what do you think about women? Well, I have to ask you, Julia, what do you think about women like me who enjoy having sex with men and don't see it that way?
You're submissive, dear.
I'm submissive. Okay.
You're bought into the stereotypes.
Oh, so the patriarchs are kind of controlling me in that way, then. Is that what you're saying?
Or simply the receptacle.
I'm the receptacle.
Ferocious nature.
Wow. Wow. You know, I have never really thought about it like that. It's an interesting idea. Now, you know, I was talking to Stacy about the idea of white woman privilege. And I'm wondering if either of you liberal bitches would be happy to share what you think about the idea of white woman privilege.
Well, I feel that if a woman cooks or they clean or just being a mother, that is hurting the cause. And white women especially seem to take this on as a form of tradition, as a form of being, as Julia said, submissive to men's desires. And I'm not going to be that way. And white women especially are the cause of the issue because they think, oh, it's okay for me to sit here and cook eggs in the kitchen and be barefoot and pregnant all day. And that is the type of attitude that is hurting the cause of women here in America.
So only white women like to make eggs in the kitchen? Is that what you're telling me?
Typically, yes. Let me tell you something. I don't have children, okay? And the reason why I don't have children is because being a mother is beneath me. However, I am a very well-educated woman, and I can clearly tell you how you should raise your daughters if you have them. And we have many tips. Okay. We have many tips on our website.
Uh-huh.
So I urge all of your listeners, if they want to give us a fair chance, which I doubt you want to do, but if you want to give us a fair chance, go to jot this down, www.cuntforusa.gov, and you'll get all of those things, all of the tips, all of the things we recommend here at the Civil Union National Trustees, right there for you to be able to see and make the decision yourself. Do not be a slave to a man. What do you say, Julia?
Have a website because we would have had to hire men.
Oh, okay.
To be able to write one.
Well, you know, women design websites too, just so you know.
Oh.
Yeah, you know, and what was the website again, Stacy? Was it CUNTforusa.com?
.gov. We're a nonprofit. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But you're not .org, you're .gov, so you're somehow affiliated with the government.
Yes, we are. We are a part of Organizing for America and many other, LGBT organizations.
So I'm wondering your thoughts then on how President Obama during his first campaign was anti-gay marriage, and in his second campaign he suddenly was for gay marriage. Just curious for your take on that, Stacey.
Julia, take this one because I can't even discuss it.
He was the original liberal bitch. Now he's just a bitch.
Oh, he is. Okay. We may agree. We may agree on that one, Julia. So, are you a Democrat, Julia, or are you what are you exactly?
I've been asked that question so many times, mostly by men. Yes, but but like Stacey, it's more androgynous.
Oh, I see. So you're an androgynous voter. Okay, that's
party.
Yeah. Ladies, it has really been enlightening talking to you guys. I do have one other question for you, if you have just a moment. I know you guys are, you ladies are very busy, but I'm wondering, one of the big topics right now in feminism is the idea that women are paid less than men because we are women. What do you think about that?
Well, first of all, there's several things that contribute to this whole thing of bullshit in the first place. But the reality is, if a woman is doing the same job as a man, she should be paid exactly the same way. And I think it's ridiculous that we have not done the right thing. And when you have men, I don't care who's the president right now. Obama is. Congratulations. But I'm going to tell you, he's a man. I don't care if he's a liberal or not. He's a man. And that's why Hillary and other women need to have a more prominent role in Congress and in the White House so that we can truly change things in Washington and make it so, whether it's at the federal level, because we can't trust the states. The states truly don't even get it. States don't even allow gay marriage half the time. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? It means that they don't have a clue. You need to make sure that things are going on in Washington, and it needs to start from the top. Hillary needs to get in, and that is why I am fully supportive of her, because she is going to change things.
Hey, Chatty Cathy, clip your strings. Listen for a minute. Hold on. Back up. You realize that the states really are the key to gay marriage and that the federal government should have anything to do with that. You really should be more supportive of the state rights. But you know what? Back up. Go ahead and talk to me more, because I don't want to talk about Hillary. Talk to me about the wage gap and why you think it happens.
Well, it's clear.
Bikini gap.
A what? A bikini gap? Julia. What did you say? Bikini gap? Have you ladies been drinking?
We have worked for years to get a woman elected to government, to pass laws, to effectively ensure that we get remuneration for all the money we lost through all these years, and we finally got her in Michelle.
In Michelle Obama, yeah, okay. Well, you know, ladies, I know I promised you 15 minutes, and I kept you for about 17. Did you want to say any parting words before I let you go on to whatever it is you do at night?
All I can say is give us a chance, listen to an opposing viewpoint besides the bunny and the rest here in AltCon. Go to www.cuntforusa.gov. We also have an extension, which is cuntforusa.info. Either one you want to go to, get the information. Women, do not be subjected as slaves to men. Empower yourselves like me, Stacey Dasani, Evian Boss. Thank you.
You know, Stacey, I have to tell you, Oak Ridge in the chat says, give cunt a chance. And I just had to let you know that you had a fan in the chat room.
Well, thank you, Oak Ridge. It's about time that somebody speaks. I'm guessing he's a man, so I don't really give a shit what he says. But thank you anyway.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. Julia, do you have any parting words before we let you go?
I do. My entire world is defined by my vagina. And your world should be defined by my vagina, too.
Well, no. Your vagina is your business. I don't want to. No. That's great. That's great, Julia. I appreciate that. Ladies, from
gay stuff. Own your vaginas, women.
I'm trying to own my vagina. Thank you. Ladies from Liberal Bitches and from Twat and Cunt, we appreciate you being with us tonight, and good luck in all you do.
Hashtag Liberal Bitches if you want to talk about it on Twitter. Thank you.
You bet. Oh, yeah. And folks, if you want to talk to Liberal Bitches, feel free to hashtag Liberal Bitches on Twitter. And, of course, their websites are in the chat room. Have a nice night, ladies, and thanks again for calling in. Wow, that was interesting. You know, we're trying really hard here at Bunny to reach out and talk to people who may not always agree with what we have to say or support what we have to say. And I think tonight, by bringing on Stacey and Julia, that we are accomplishing something by having those discussions even though clearly Stacey has problems with men in general. And speaking of having problems with men in general, I'm wondering if we have Danny Brown on the line.
Yes, you do, actually. What's going on, Sam?
Hey, Danny, how are you tonight?
I'm wonderful. I actually caught the last little clip of that, and I could not help but laugh hysterically.
Well, you know, we're givers here at Altcon Radio and with the Polita Bunny, and so, you know, we were really trying to give Stacey and Julia a moment to talk to our audience that maybe, you know, thinks differently than they do. So, yeah, that was interesting, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yes. It was quite entertaining as I was laughing about how women don't make more than men. And I actually, as I was listening to them, there's an example because where I'm at, I'm in construction, and my boss is actually a woman. And even though she is a woman, she gets paid more than my lead guy. Now, my lead guy knows infinite amount more than she does, but she still gets paid more. So I'm kind of wondering, like, where is the difference in pay scale? Like, I don't know where women are being held down. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, and it really doesn't. To be honest with you, I really think that I was being a tad mocking with my guest because let's be honest, you know, the idea of wage gap based on being a woman, the idea of going to government and saying, make employers pay me the exact amount as this other person, regardless of skill, but because I have boobs, is really not what feminism is about. And so, and like you said, there are plenty of people out there, and women especially, who make more than men. Now, Danny, I know you jumped right in, and I appreciate that very much. But I want to give a little background on who you are.
Okay.
Danny is the Red Man, and I'm going to forget your numbers, as I always do. Help me out here.
It's at the Red Man 2117.
Okay, and Danny, bless his heart, was one of the first people to speak to me when I got on Twitter. And I was terrified. And he was a very good person and helped me get into this whole disaster. And so we've been friends a long time. And what I noticed with Danny is that he interacts with women with respect and has a good time. And what I was talking about, I've been nagging him for a long time and to come on. And he actually had agreed a while back, and I'm a dork and missed it. But I asked him to come on tonight because really what we want to talk about, and, you know, we've gone on about white women privilege and Stacey and Julia, but, you know, the idea of what is happening to the man in America, and, you know, the wussification of man, the beta male that is taking over what we consider to be a man's man. And it's almost like we should be ashamed to talk about a man's man. So what I'm wondering, as a man, what you see, and if you're witnessing the same things I'm witnessing about the idea of somehow you should be ashamed for being a guy.
Well, I mean, there's a whole an array of different kinds of things that would make a man's man, but it's almost like we're not allowed to talk about it, or we're not allowed to be a man's man. Like, for instance, if it's kind of hard to describe because everybody catches feelings and then they want to whine about it. And a man's man is just supposed to just toughen up, get the job done, not take it personally, and go about their merry way. And it's like, you know, here in Maryland, it is the worst. I mean, I live next door to liberal after liberal after liberal. And as I take care of my house, and they wonder, like, what's going on? Why is not a woman over here? It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, I've actually heard from a lot of people in Maryland talking about that it is a very blue area. One gentleman tried to convince me, and of course he was of the liberal persuasion, that Maryland was awesome, and that, you know, I was being a bitch by saying that Detroit had been destroyed by liberal policies, and he was real fun to talk to. So I can only imagine what you come in contact with daily. You know, I did ask him to prove, you know, to give me a city where conservative policies had destroyed it, and I'm still waiting for that answer.
I believe it.
So I'm just wondering, though, because you don't come across as this beta male to me. You come across as just very alpha and confident. Why do you think this is a bad thing now?
Me personally, as a conservative, I never think being like confident in yourself is a bad thing. Now, for some reason, the media, the way liberals talk, they want you to think being confident as a man, not like as a person, but as a man is a bad thing. Like, you're overstepping your boundaries. You can't, like, you don't want to offend a woman. Say, for instance, if you're going to help her carry something. Like, if I seen, like, an elderly lady carrying a bag of groceries and I thought she could use some help, somebody would look at me with a dirty eye, like I wasn't supposed to do that, like she could handle it herself. Where in all reality, I'm just trying to help. And I don't get the persona of we can't just do what is right anymore. It's almost like they've tied in you being a misogynist and a racist all at once. And it's like, what? What is going on here?
Yes. Well, let's see. You would be, what I think is really fun with you is that you come into these conversations and you're not a white guy.
Yes, that is very correct.
And, you know, not to give anything away about you, but I think that's really important in this discussion of white woman privilege. I can't say you have white man privilege. So, you know, you come at it.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I actually, not recently, but a while ago, I got into an argument with a liberal about white man privilege. And, like, he was trying to drop a white man guilt trip on me, and I'm like, I'm not white. You're not even close. And he was like, what do you mean? And then I went through the whole spiel, and he was like, oh. And he never said another word, and I never had another argument with him. It's quite hilarious.
You know, it's that whole thing when, you know, how if I'm a woman and I have a conversation with a liberal woman and I say, well, you know, I'm a conservative and I believe this and this, they never can believe it, you know, because it's the party of a white man. So for you to come in and not be you know, you can be an evil man, but you're not the evil white guy. I really enjoy seeing those debates because they don't know what to do with you. And and you brought up a good point about why can't we just do the right thing? And, you know, like our friend Stacy may have said, why do men get to determine what's the right thing? It's not about men being the ones that determine that. It's just doing the right thing. And your example is great. Do you think that someone would give me a dirty look if I decided to help the same old lady with groceries?
Probably not. They probably would give you a clap and a pat on the back. They're like, good job.
You're so cute. Look at you help that old lady.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Totally what
it's
they
like,
would
oh
do.
my God. Like, really? Come on, guys.
It would be, it's women power. You're uniting over the age gap or some shit.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. Like, oh, Lord, it's so bad here. I can't, I really, you'd have to be here for a week in Baltimore just
I don't have
to get a taste.
I would not. There's no way.
I'm telling you, it's so bad. I mean, like, for instance, my neighbor has a bumper sticker that says, single payer, everyone in, nobody out. That's the way it needs to be. And I'm losing my mind here. I'm not even going to lie. I feel like I'm a lone wolf in Maryland, especially in Baltimore.
I could totally send you a little how-to to take her bumper sticker off at night if you want.
I have had my tangled with her a few times at least, that I can at least count on one hand. It's been bad with her. It's terrible.
Yeah. You know, and I'm very spoiled. I'm in a very, very red state.
I'm jealous. I'm very jealous of that.
You know, we are in Wyoming. We are typically within the top 3 red states of the country. So I don't have to deal with that. Now, if I want to deal with that, I can drive, you know, down south to Denver and have some fun there, because, you know, that has become the mecca.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you might, if you're driving, you might. You don't want to catch up on any new, you know, extracurricular activities in Denver now.
Hey, man, to each his own.
That's true. Hey, you want to go ahead and have fun, more power to you. I'm not here to stop you.
That's exactly, and that's what's really funny about talking to most conservatives about, the whole deal in Denver. And of course, I'll get off it because that's bunnies do. Very often, I have conservatives saying, "I don't care. It's not my problem. Just don't do it around me." Or, they expect us to be all worked up that they've done it, and I'm like, whatever. If you want to pay that kind of tax on it, you knock yourself out.
Right. I mean,
it is crazy.
You're taxing everything else. You might as well tax that too. At least get some money back off of it, honestly.
Now, are you okay? Now I've heard rumblings that they're taxing water or rainwater in Maryland. Is that
my goodness! You would bring the rain tax up.
I'm just curious if that's you guys.
No, absolutely. Let me give you a background of Maryland and Martin O as in O-W-E Malley. Okay. Here in Maryland, it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or not, they're not going to vote for you. It's because they see a D and they run right to them. When we had a Republican governor for 4 years by the name of Robert Ehrlich, and he was kind of like an establishment rhino, but he was like a conservative here. Okay, I mean, that's, if that means anything. But the O'Malley administration has raised taxes 40 different times. He has doubled the toll fees. He has raised the cigarette tax, the alcohol tax. He's taxing rain. I shit you not, he's taxing rain. Okay, so say for instance, and like it's actually been a really wet winter here in Maryland. I'm getting taxed. I don't know how that's even possible. I'm waiting to hear. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy the way this administration here in Maryland is running. And now the lieutenant governor of the O'Malley administration is running for governor. And believe me when I tell you, I'm doing everything in my power to make sure this man does not get elected.
And that brings up a really good point as we get nearer to the midterm elections. And I am seeing this issue of feminism, and I always get on my soapbox about women being so important, but I think they really are. But I think another important part of that discussion is where are the men in this country? Can't tell you how many times I've had a little beta pretty boy yell at me about my vagina. And I'm so tired of these little boys who think that they should be crying about my rights. They're destroying. So I'm wondering, how do we bring back the male in this country? How do we empower? We're always talking about empower women, empower women. Well, we bitches, we are empowered. Trust me, we are calling shots. We are the ones who are getting all of the attention in media and policy. How do we empower our men again?
Well, look, it's like this. Women, I love women. You ladies, you really rule the world. Whether or not you believe it, it's the truth.
Oh, I know.
Because a man will do anything for a woman, and I don't really need to go into details for that, but you already know. So,
that PIV thing, yeah. Okay, so.
But the men in this country are being pussified.
Yes.
And they're being told that if in order for you to do something, you have to make sure you go with what everybody else wants you to be. You don't want to offend anyone. You don't want it to be this way or that way. Like if some rugged guy who eats deer meat, goes hunting, likes to shoot off guns, he's like ridiculed and made fun of, and it makes no sense. But the guy that wears the pink pullover, and wears sandals with jeans and has a collar top, okay, he's like the cool shit, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm not really sure how to all bring it together for men. Men should just be what they are. We're dirt balls. We like to spit. Sometimes we smell and we like to work outside, get dirty. I mean, that's what it needs to be. And like now, like liberal women are like forcing us to make sure we don't get dirty. We gotta stay clean. Oh my God.
You remind me. Someone tell me real men piss on campfires and blow shit up, and I think
I mean, that's what we do. We blow shit up and we enjoy it. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that.
So So how do we get that message out there? Because, you know, what we're really up against is a media that feeds this idea that these little boys, these boys are what men should be now. And, you know, like, look at Phil Robertson. Even if you don't agree with him or you do agree with him, he comes out and makes a pretty manly statement. And he gets just totally attacked. He almost loses his job. He's still getting ridiculed in media. How do we get around that? How do we stop this idea that men shouldn't be men anymore?
Well, I think it starts at home. I think it starts at home because when I was growing up, my father would show me what needs to be done, how to be a man, how to take care of the household. Like, if he was gone, this is what you need to do. You need to take care of your brother if I'm not here. You need to do this. If your mother's not here, just all sorts of different things that as you're growing up, you grow into a man. You don't just you become a man, but it starts with your morals and your values taught in the household when you're growing up.
Right. So it really starts at home. So, you know, part of that is, and, you know, this is something that I hear from the feminists, is that so many children are being raised in single mom families. And so then you get into the whole, well, who's responsible at that point, and how does government fix it? And I think what it is we need men like you, Danny, telling men who ditch out and pull, you know, do the whole I'm not a dad thing to start kicking their asses and telling them they're dads, and to be in the household a bit more. And not to be the evil feminist telling men to do what they need to do, but at the end of the day, dads have become, they're missing it. And what's happening is they're not being expected anymore. It's like, oh, you're a dad? Oh, it's the shock. And if you talk about a single dad who's taking care of a kid, oh my gosh, you know, that's unheard of, right? How do we get, you know, for me to go to men and say, you need to take care of your baby and be dad, I need men to say that to other men. Be a man and be a dad. Because, you know, my son needs his dad. He loves me. You know, with his mommy, we do cool stuff. When it comes, he wants to wrestle or talk poop, or, you know, my son is sick and balls already. You know, don't ask. He's my son. Yeah. But he needs my husband for that. We need men to start holding men accountable and saying, be a fucking man, not a boy. And I think people like you, Danny, we can do that. Man up.
No. See, what I was going to say was, like, for instance, when you grow up to be a man, sometimes you get beat. Now, when I was growing up, if I did something wrong, I got my ass beat.
That's right.
Know, and that, like, made me, like, shudder, like, whoa, maybe I shouldn't do that. Or my father, like, all I could do is hear my father yell, and I would just go running. It didn't matter where I was going. I had to have a hiding spot because it would have been bad. Men in general have lost that edge because they've been told you're not allowed to do that. Okay, you're not allowed to punish your kid. So kids grow up thinking that they're stronger and better than their parents, so that they just listen to what the media tells them that they should be. So in reality, the media has brainwashed parents into thinking they can't punish their kids, and then the kids listen to the media thinking that being a little bitch is the right way to be, and it's not.
I love that. See, I knew you were smarter than me on this. That's why I needed a guy, because, you know, I have my ideas, and of course everybody gets to hear about them because that's just how I am. But it's a great point. You're right. It all goes back. And again, if you're doing it, it's really taking apart that family unit. They're really taking away what the foundation looks like.
Right.
So your point has come full circle. How did you do that?
That's exactly right.
How did you do that? I wish I could figure out how to come full circle, because I get on a topic and I get lost. So how did you do that?
It was, to tell you the truth, you kind of like walked me into it, and it just was like full circle, boop, boop, boop. I'm there. We're done.
Yeah.
Nailed it right on the mark.
It's white man privilege. Oh, wait, that can't be with you. I'm totally stuck on that. I'm so irritated with that whole idea. Clearly, it has stuck with me for, you know, a good 3 or 4 days, and I have to talk about it for an hour and a half. You know,
it's okay. I see it all the time. I mean, I still get it. Like, even though I'm not, I don't want to get off on a sidetrack, but here, walking on the street, my head has to be on a swivel because of the knockout game. I mean, that shit is real here. I mean, it's as serious as it gets. You know,
they don't do that here.
Yeah, I bet not. You know why? Because they have guns there. We don't have guns.
Because we're all armed. Yeah. Yes, we are. We are definitely armed where I am, and you never know. That is one of the things. If you ever look into Wyoming, side note, we have one of the lowest violent crime rates in the country because we will shoot you if you fuck with us. So, on that happy note, I do have a couple other callers on the line. You're welcome to stay on if you want to. But I did want to bring on, I have Jason DeWilkins from According to Me. I'd like to bring him on as a fellow radio host and as a friend. You don't have to say. Is there anything else you want to say just as the guest on right now?
I can stay on if you want me to.
All right. Why don't you stay put then? And According to Me, Jason, are you there?
I am Sam Janney. How are you, Wu-Tang Clan? What's up?
I'm Peachy Keen, Jelly Bean. Thank you for calling. Did you hear earlier?
I wanted to give you, by the way, what in the hell was that earlier, like a half hour ago?
Those crazy bitches who called me and talked about...
Oh, my dear God. What the hell was that?
I think Stacy was a woman. It's hard to tell. Yeah, it was a little crazy.
You sound like a dude to me, but that's...
I'll
let your imaginations handle that one.
Stacy, I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're listening to the show, anybody with more than one last name is a bitch. Sorry, that's just how it works. Anyway, by the way, instead of you referring to it as your vagina bunny,
sure.
I'm suggesting you refer to it as your Foontang.
My Foontang. You know, Jason, you come up with so many plays on the word foo, and they tend to pick up, and I try to give you credit. Foontang. Okay, that's a new one for me.
There you go.
I appreciate you always looking out for me, man. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One of the reasons I wanted to invite one is to brag to the world that you have chosen to be with Alt-Con Radio exclusively coming. And so I'm super excited about that. And you're going to be live from now on.
I am, actually. I have, for those of you who haven't listened to my show yet, I should say, what in the hell is wrong with you? But
right?
I actually did the show. I was on 4 networks at one point, including Alt-Con Radio, but the ability to do it live and get your calls, talk to you every single week, as well as just the family and camaraderie here at Alt-Con is something that was very enticing for me. So I felt that it was a good fit for me. You guys certainly haven't kicked me off yet, which is nice to hear. And I'm excited. I'm excited to definitely be part of the team, and definitely urge you to check out the show if you haven't got a chance to yet. We've done 2 live shows here on Alt-Con. We have one tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Wink, wink. So make sure you check it out. It's I will tell you, I will cover part of Christy Gate, but I'm not going to get into all of what happened.